Hello, hi, welcome back to the channel. If you've not been here before, hello, my name's Fiona. I'm an artist and illustrator living in the city of Edinburgh in Scotland. And this channel is my place for me to share my sketchbooks, drawing trips around the city, art processes, all that kind of good stuff. I mentioned in the last video when I did a little life update thing that the theme of the next couple months is going to be artist markets. My focus at the minute is designing some new products for my upcoming onslaught of all of the Christmas artist markets I have booked. I think I have about 5 over the next 2 months. Stickers are always a great seller. They're cheap, but that means people just buy them without thinking twice about it kind of thing. Whereas stuff like bigger prints and originals sell a lot more slowly. I think a big part of that is just cost of living. I think people just want to be able to take something home with them, but it needs to feel small and affordable, which is very understandable. So yeah, my tactic for these markets is going to be trying to sell a higher volume of cheaper items rather than the reverse. And that just means I need to massively expand the range of stickers I have available. So what I'm going to be working on in this video is an idea I've had in the back of my head for a little while. I want to do a set of stickers of D&D classes as cats. Last year I played at one point a fully cat themed D&D one-shot game where all of us were tabaxi, which are the kind of cat-like species in D&D. And I drew character art for everyone's cat characters as like a little surprise. Everyone seemed to really like them, and yeah, just ever since I've been thinking about doing something more with this idea. I think if you made a Venn diagram of people who like D&D and people who are cat lovers, I think there'll be a lot of overlap there. That's my instinct. So yeah, designing a range of D&D cat class stickers, that is the mission this week. With that in mind, I have been watching some Craftsy video lessons on character design to get inspired. Craftsy are the sponsor of today's video, so thank you so much to Craftsy for working with me. Craftsy is your online resource for all things creative. They've got lessons and tutorials about sketching, painting, knitting, crochet, cooking, all sorts of cool creative topics. It's a community for creative people, people who always want to be learning new skills, new hobbies, getting inspired, all that good stuff. The course I've been watching recently is the character design course. It's 11 lessons led by Gerardo Escamilla. It basically breaks down the fundamental step-by-step of designing a character from scratch. I really appreciated that this course taught a lot in depth about things like line of action, how to stretch and squash proportions to indicate elements of a character and personality. A lot of this is actually stuff that I didn't even get taught in my actual 3-year illustration degree. Let me also share with you a couple of other classes that I think you would like. This one's called Perspective Techniques for Better Drawing by Marjorie Leggett. And like the last one I mentioned, this one is also really great for just really working on those drawing fundamental skills. Perspective is really important, but it's also really complicated and difficult. I really appreciated getting to watch this really thorough 3-hour-long perspective intensive course, which was great. I also really enjoyed this one called Sketching the City in Pen, Ink and Watercolour by Shari Blaukopf. I really like getting out and doing urban sketching. I have a few videos doing that, and I like how this course explained how to simplify down really complicated, detailed scenery into manageable proportions and thumbnails. So you're able to capture it all on the spot more quickly. Craftsy have got a great offer for new members. You can get your first full year of Craftsy Premium for just $1.49. For that, you get access to over 2,000 classes taught by experts, award-winning authors and illustrators, university-level lecturers. I'm sure you'll find something to inspire you and level up those skills. This offer is valid for new members only. If you'd like to take a look, you can join with the link in the description. So with all that fresh inspiration in mind, let's go sketch some cats. Okay, let's get straight into sketching. So before going into doing all the final line art straight away, I spent a couple minutes to sketch out a couple different pose ideas and pick my favourite one. If you can't tell yet, we're starting with a ranger. That's the character class I'm going for, a ranger. I always associate these sort of hood scarf things with rangers. I don't know why. I see that and I think like Archer, although I did end up looking a little bit Assassin's Creed, but that's okay. If you can't tell what he's got in his hand, by the way, I thought as a ranger, as a cat ranger, it would be a really cute idea for, instead of arrows, for him to ping scrunched up paper balls around. I thought that would be really cute. That's kind of based on a cat that I know in real life. A little bit of lore about me is I used to be a cat nanny at a cat cafe. I used to take care of 10 cats, and one of them was a ragdoll. And he used to love it when you pinged scrunched up paper balls across the floor for him. So that's kind of the idea here, and that's why, yeah, I'm trying to make this design into a ragdoll as well. It's a little bit based on him, it's a little bit of a tribute to him. Art supplies, by the way, so the sketching I did on the left page, that was with a Blackwing pencil. I don't use graphite pencils very often, I use pretty much coloured pencils for everything. But when I was watching the Craftsy class earlier, the guy teaching that, he was using graphite pencils, and I just thought it looked really cool, it just looked really good, so I thought, you know, yeah, okay, I got the graphite out, I'll do a bit of graphite sketching for once in my life. And I do think it looks nice, but it does get a little bit too smudgy for me. You know when you get that sort of like grey graphite smudge all down the side of your hand that you draw with? And that annoyed me, so I swapped back to the pink coloured pencil. I think when you're doing marker drawings, using a coloured pencil is best anyway, in my opinion. I just think when you go over the top with the marker, the coloured pencil just seems to melt into it a bit more easily. Whereas I think when you do graphite and then lay a marker over the top, it just looks a little bit messier. That's just my opinion. So yeah, I went back to my trusty pink mechanical coloured pencil. And then the markers, these are Copic markers. I also use Promarkers a little bit later on. I've been using Copic markers for years. They're my old faithful that I always go back to. So yeah, as I said, he is a ragdoll, and that's why I'm colouring his eyes blue. That's a classic ragdoll trait. And when I was colouring his outfit, I had to resist hard the urge to make him into Link. My brain was just like, give him a green tunic, give him a green tunic, and I had to be like, no, we're not drawing Link. I don't know why my brain just did that. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't look too much like Link, although I guess that's just where my brain goes when I think of an archer. I think of him first. Although when I brought Andy over and showed him this, he said he thought that the little waistcoat thing I've given him is a little bit Shrek coded, which was unintentional, but maybe that's not too obvious, hopefully. So there is our ranger. Onto the second design. So I'm doing a total of 3 today. Ideally I'd like this to be a much bigger range. I'd like to have 6 or 8. I probably won't do all of the character classes, but I'd like to have a good few for people to, people who play D&D and they've got a regular character they play. I want people to be able to be like, oh, that's my character class, and pick up theirs. So I'd like to have a good range to pick from. But at the same time, I also don't want to get loads of these printed, because then that's kind of a money investment, and then what if they're not that popular, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just starting with 3 to test the waters. If you haven't guessed yet, this second one is a wizard. If you've noticed that I keep flipping back and forth to the previous page, it's because I'm trying to match the proportions. I want them to look like a matching set. So I'm trying to, yeah, have the same sort of slightly squashed, slightly cute proportions with the big head, and that's why I keep flipping back and forth. I spent ages figuring out the cape on this. I should have looked at a reference. I should have looked at like just one reference for how to draw a cape. I think it ended up a little bit longer on one side. I'm also trying to keep the colour palette consistent but different enough that it looks like different character designs, but consistent enough that if someone wants to buy all 3 and stick them next to each other on their laptop, whatever, they look like matching set. Hopefully I've achieved that. If you have noticed that they don't seem to have any tails, that's either because they've got capes on, or it's because I forgot to draw the tails. that's up to you. So for his little wizard staff that he's got, I debated back and forth on what that should be. I had drawn it initially as like a little crescent moon, as you can see on the left hand page, and then I redrew it as like a little paw on the end of a stick, but then I was hit with a stroke of genius and I decided to make it into a cat toy wand. I thought that would be good. So yeah, it's one of those little plastic wand things that's got the feathers and the bell on the end. I thought that'd be really funny for a cat wizard to have one of those as his magic staff. So what other character classes do you think I should do? We're gonna see the third one in a minute. But if you play D&D, what is your character class? What do you play as the most? And what do you think would be a cool sticker design? If you've got any ideas for how to incorporate little sort of like cute cat related jokes, like the feather wand and like the scrunch up paper ball into different character classes for D&D, if you've got any ideas along those lines, please chuck them down in the comments. I would really appreciate the inspiration, because yeah, I really enjoy doing this and I really want to keep on doing them as a matching set. So that's our wizard finished. Let's get on to the third and final one. If you're trying to guess at home, you probably guessed the second I drew the lute. This third and final one is a bard. I had debated back and forth on which instrument to give this one, but then I thought I want them to be instantly recognisable, and what is the instrument that people associate the most with bard characters in D&D? And I thought it's got to be a lute. So that's what I did. I've never drawn a lute before, and it turns out it's really hard. It's really difficult. I had to look up loads of different drawing references for lute being held from different sort of angles, and then I had to figure out how to make it look proportional to the kind of squashed proportions of the cat body. So I couldn't directly copy a drawing reference of a human holding one and then figure out how the paws would hold it. And yeah, I don't know. I think I got there in the end, but it was quite tricky. This cat, our final one, I've decided to go for a tabby. I don't really have any logic behind this other than I see tabby cats as cheeky. I've got that association with them. I think they're a little bit sort of, I don't know, like crafty and naughty. That's what I think of tabby cats. And that just seemed right for a bard for me. If anyone's curious, by the way, how long this whole thing took, the whole thing start to finish with all the little sketches and then fully finishing with Copic marker, the designs. I think it was about 4 hours in total. I did this whole thing pretty much in one sitting with a break to get tea in the middle. So yeah, it was about 4 hours. They're not quite finished yet. I'm still going to need to scan them in the computer to make them into stickers. Actually, I'll probably do it on the iPad. I'll use Procreate to erase all of the pink pencil lines. I don't want those to show up in the final stickers. So I'm going to get rid of all of the pink pencil lines digitally and just sort of polish them up and neaten them up a little bit and get rid of any little smudges. So if you didn't catch in my last video, I listed out all of the different artist markets that I'm going to be doing over the next couple months. If you are in Scotland, if you're especially Edinburgh or Glasgow, and you are looking for a fun Christmassy activity to do, please consider coming along to one of these arts and crafts markets. Come and see me, and also lots of other really cool, talented people. Always interesting, like baked goods, lots of artists. Sometimes you see vintage clothes, like crochet plushies. There's all sorts of stuff. They're just really cool places to pick up really unique Christmas gifts and stuff like that. I'll list out in the description the upcoming artist markets I've got over the next couple weeks and months. And yeah, hopefully you'll come along. It would be really cool to see you. A few times in my most recent markets, I've had people come up to me and say, oh, I came here off of your YouTube video, I've been watching your videos, and oh, that's always so cool when that happens. I always really like that. If you ever come up and talk to me at one of these events and I seemed a little bit, I don't know, startled, it's probably just that I was sort of surprised that people came along. But it always makes me so happy to meet people who have, you know, come here for my videos and stuff like that. That's always really cool. So those are our 3 finished designs. We've got a bard, a wizard, and a ranger. I'm really happy with them. I think they've come out really cute. Hello, it's the next day and we're all done. So here we go, we've got a ranger, a wizard, and a bard. So I'm just doing 3 to start with, to sort of as a popularity gauge of how much people like them. If they're a hit, I'm going to keep going. I'd ideally like to have 6 or 8 or more, so people could like collect the whole set kind of thing. So pretty much the last step left is to scan them into Procreate on the iPad. Take a bit of time removing the pink pencil sketch lines. I'm not going to have them in the final thing. They're just sort of guidelines for me. And just generally neaten them up as a digital file and then send them off to print. Hopefully the finished final glossy stickers will be ready for me to show you in the next video. That's it for now. This was super fun to do. I really enjoyed the challenge of coming up with not just the poses, but also the sort of fantasy outfit elements. I took inspiration from a bunch of different video games and also sort of taken in over the years. And I think they came out pretty cute. I'm happy with them. So that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out. It's been fun and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.